Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it's time for the Q&A, so let's go ahead and get this started. All right, first question. What do you think of RDLs for the purpose of a hip hinge with the extra trap and lat hypertrophy based off the fact that deadlifts do build lats and traps to an extent? Not using RDLs as a main back builder, but a way to sneak extra volume into the back when doing a hip hinge. Well, you've seen me do RDLs and training vlogs for periods of time, right? Yeah, I've done RDLs on camera. I've probably done them 15 times over the course of a training cycle. I think last year or early this year. So I think it's perfectly reasonable. I think in general, the good morning is a more versatile hip hinge. But I like RDLs. I do prescribe them to clients. And you've seen even Emma's done them on camera in her vlogs. So, yeah, I like RDLs. I think they're a good exercise. And I think for overall building, I don't think they're as good as a conventional deadlift. However, for recovery purposes, you can get away with a little more volume on them sometimes. For a little bit more hamstring specific training, I think they're good. I think they're good. But for your question, I mean, if we're really going to talk about extra trap and lat work and we want to do a deadlift, I would go straight to a conventional deadlift or a deficit deadlift for your volume if that's what you want out of it. Like why do the RDL for that purpose? Get in and use the big deal. Use the big stuff. If that's really what you want out of it. I think RDLs shine for hamstrings, right? If you do, especially if you don't have access to a glute ham raise and hamstrings are really lagging and adductors are really lagging, I think RDLs are pretty damn good for that, right? They're very good for that. That's where they shine. But I mean, if you really are trying to get more back development out of a hip hinge, if that's your goal, I would do a conventional deadlift or a snatch grip deadlift or a deficit deadlift. That would be my choice personally if that's what you want out of it. And I'm not saying the RDL doesn't contribute there because it does. I do believe an RDL will help a little with your traps and lats. So I don't disagree with that. But if that's why you're doing it, I don't think it's the best choice for a hip hinge. All right, next question. Why do I sometimes miss a lift I should have no problem hitting? For example, a month ago I did a 165 sumo, relatively easy. Today it wouldn't even move. What the hell? By the way, this is an individual who I've done a consultation with before. One of my non-client ones, giving him some programming advice in the past. So he does mean kilos. I know for a fact that's kg, not pounds, for anyone who's like, oh, 165 seems a little light. So here's what I'm going to say, Michael. This is going to be either a recovery issue or a programming issue. Either something is wrong in your training programming, you're under training some weak link and it has regressed. So you need to address whatever weak link is going on there. You've had insufficient training stimulus and something has regressed, or there's a fatigue management and recovery issue either on the programming side or in your lifestyle, right? In other words, you were not recovered enough. You were not recovered enough to pull that. So something was off with your training programming or something related to your fatigue management and your recovery was down. In fact, we start missing deadlifts. Like we regress on a deadlift of any type. For me, that's an indication it may be time for a deload. It might be time for a deload. That's definitely a possibility. I would place that higher on the list because as far as regressing goes, I know that you're doing quite a bit of work. I don't think in your case it's because you've atrophied or undertrained a weak link anywhere. Right? I don't think that's the case. But that being said, because I know you do box squats, Because usually if we miss a sumo, if we can't even break it off the floor, and it's a weight that we can handle, that's usually a glute weakness, right? Usually glutes if you can't break a sumo off the floor. I doubt your glutes have regressed because I know that you box squat and you deadlift. Probably not the case. So I'm going to say almost certainly it's something to do with fatigue management and under recovery. Almost guaranteed. All right, next question. You usually advocate focusing our hypertrophy work on muscles relatively weak in our body. What about training specifically our strong muscles? I'm 5'9", 77 kg, and can back squat and zercher squat 130 kg. All right, you got weak quads. Sumo deadlift 170 kg, but glute bridge 200 kg for 10. Would training the already strong glute bridge for hypertrophy bring any benefit, or should I focus more on exercises hitting other muscles not as strong as my glutes, i.e. adductors, hamstrings, quads? I'm going to tell you right now, just sorry, before I answer your question, if you can zercher squat anywhere near what you back squat, you have weak ass quads and adductors. Stupidly weak. Stupidly weak. You need to fix that. Okay, because you should not be able to zercher squat even close to what you squat. The zercher squat is not even a good leg developer because of that usually. Right? In your case, your legs are underdeveloped. Maybe you need to quit doing zercher squats and do some back squats. You don't have legs. Fix it. Now, that aside, I don't recommend only hypertrophying our weak links. I think that we need to hypertrophy everything. I think that we need to bias our training volumes towards our weak links because we only have so much recovery. We only have so much recovery. You know, and honestly, me personally, my training is pretty balanced. If you watch the way I train, I give pretty much every muscle in my body at least the low end of the optimal hypertrophy range every week in terms of volume, right? I bias the training towards my weak links. We put a little more volume into the weak links, right? But we don't ignore the stronger muscles. Like just because something is our strongest muscle in the kinetic chain doesn't mean we don't want it to get any bigger at all. We still want it to. We still want to make progress. We just need to make sure that our weak links are getting the love and attention. Because if we don't, we're not going to get strong as quickly. But the other thing to think about, the reason that works is if you bring up the weak links, your big lifts go up faster. And if they go up faster, your hypertrophy does go up in the strong links more because your big lifts are hypertrophy. They are hypertrophy work for your strongest muscles in it. And you can increase the load more accordingly. So that's another reason we don't need to focus on them as much, but they still need to get some attention. So we need to always be clear on that. But if you have weak links, yes, they do need more attention because that will help even your strongest muscles grow quicker. Because your lifts go up, you can create more total tension. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time in part 2.